Hey YouTube, how is it going today? Well, the market is getting thwacked again, but it is rebounding off the lows. In this video, I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen next and how I plan on trading it. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to jump right into this. This is the daily chart of the NASDAQ composite, and the NASDAQ gapped all the way down to the 50-period simple moving average at the beginning of the day. It sold off hard for about the first 30 minutes or so, but then it immediately reversed. And as of this recording, it is well above the 50-period simple moving average, which of course is that blue line. And that, of course, is a good thing if you are long stocks. But in my opinion, I don't think we're out of the woods just yet. I would expect some follow through to the upside, especially if it closes like this today or even a little bit stronger. But if it does reverse course and end below the 50-period simple moving average, I think we could be in for some more weakness. But if I had to guess right now, I think we're probably going to be up tomorrow. I think the market should close near the high because we have been selling off for about 5 or 6 straight days. It's been pretty ugly in the market for about a week or so. So I think that the NASDAQ composite is going to make it up to this area right here where the white line and the purple line are on the chart. And if we go to the 15-minute chart, let's go look intraday. I think this area could offer some pretty decent resistance once price gets up there. And I'm guessing we're probably going to be there in another day or two. Let's go back to the daily chart. And the white line, which is the 8-period exponential moving average, is going to be dropping into this green box, and of course so is that purple line. So I think we're going to have this resistance area plus these two moving averages here. I think that's going to offer a lot of resistance for the NASDAQ composite. Now, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the NASDAQ does blast through it but then reverses course, just like it did with this 50-period simple moving average. Just because it blasts through that average doesn't mean the average wasn't any support or resistance, because if it gets right back above it, then technically that line did held because sometimes you get these fast moves in the market, and these lines aren't like brick walls, but they do eventually offer support or resistance. So what my plan is when the NASDAQ or the market rises up into this area, I want to lighten up on some of my weaker positions. Now I'm going to hold on to some of my commodity type stocks because I do think commodities are going to be strong. They are going to continue being strong for the next couple of weeks or so, and I'll touch base on that in a few minutes. But when this move happens down in the market, what I like to do, I don't get too worried because I know when this kind of move comes down, I get trapped in stocks just like you guys. I mean, nobody sees this huge move down coming, but once you get that reverse and that bounce into that 8-period exponential moving average, that's when a lot of people who got trapped end up lightening up on some of their positions. And that's probably what I'm going to do as well, because chances are the market is going to roll over again at least one more time. So when the market does bounce up into this area where these moving averages are, I'm going to lighten up on some of my weaker positions, and I'm probably going to take a position in either an inverse fund to try to capture that potential move down, or I might even buy some put options. Chances are I'm probably just going to take a position in some inverse funds. Those are a little bit easier to play, especially if you're new to the market. That's what I would recommend because the options are just a little bit tougher. But I don't think that this is going to be the big crash in the market, and I'm going to tell you why right now. First off is because the Dow Jones, I'm going to flip over to the ETF, which is the diamonds. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is still holding up pretty well, and if this was like a fire sale in the market, like we had during the COVID collapse, everything would kind of be getting crushed. And the fact that the diamonds are still holding up well, the Dow Jones Industrial stocks, makes me think that this is just a short-term correction in some of the overpriced stocks that are mainly sitting in the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the Spider, which is the S&P 500. This, of course, is weaker than the Dow, but it is performing better than the NASDAQ because there isn't as many speculative stocks in the S&P 500. These are Fortune 500 companies, so they're a little bit more stable. It is below the 21-period exponential moving average and the 8 period, so it is technically in a short-term downtrend. But I don't think that this is the big one. Let me go back to let's go back to the Qs. The Qs, for some reason, it is a little offset on the chart, at least on my charting, because if you go to the NASDAQ composite, it is well above this 50-period simple moving average. But if you go to the Qs, for whatever reason, it is slightly below, and I checked the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 on my software versus the Spider and the Diamonds, and those are identical for some reason, but the Qs are off a little bit. But anyway, I am more interested in what the NASDAQ is doing rather than the Qs, but the Qs are what I'm going to use to trade it. But that is what I see in the overall market. Now, let's get into see what the GLD is doing, what gold is doing. And I think that the GLD is eventually going to be pulling out of this downtrend channel and headed to the upside. And the reason why I think that is because of silver. We can see that silver is actually outperforming gold at the moment. But usually gold has been outperforming silver, but I think right now silver is going to be the one that pulls gold up. We can see a nice rounded bottom in the price of silver, and it looks like it could be potentially breaking out any time now. So I think the precious metals are going to do well, and of course I think oil is going to do well as well. Zoom in a little bit on the USO, which is the ETF for the oil contract. You can see it's still in a very sharp uptrend, so I think the oil stocks are still going to outperform some of the other stocks in the market, especially if we go into a correction. I think there's going to be a little bit of a flight to some of these commodity type stocks. So I'm going to be sitting tight in some of my commodity stocks. But today I did take advantage of the sell-off, and I added some to my Tesla position. I tried to get some more at $6 or $621, but for some reason my order was not executed. I did pick some up at $650. We can see the low was $619, so I don't know why my order was skipped over. I did not call my broker because every time something like this happens, there's always some BS excuse, so it's really just a waste of my time. Unfortunately, I got to take it on the chin when this thing happens. They didn't have any problem giving me those shares at $650 when the market was crashing, but wouldn't give me it at $621. And I don't know. Every time I call them, it's just always some ridiculous excuse, or either that or they just tell me to flat out, go F myself, and then I'll say something else, and they'll just be like, "Oh, what are you still doing on the phone? Didn't I tell you to go F yourself?" So it's not even worth my time calling anymore, even though that would have been a pretty nice gain, at least as of right now. I mean, the market certainly could roll back over, so I'm not counting my chickens before they're hatched. Another one that I bought was CRISPR. CRISPR had been selling off pretty darn hard, and I picked up some more at $125 today, just a little over $125. That's doing pretty good, but when you see this acceleration to the downside and it looks like the overall market could potentially be bottoming out, that's when you want to try to buy these beaten down stocks, and try to catch like a dead cat bounce, or if you're just holding on to some of these for the long term, it's a great time to be adding to your positions. Another one that I added was Palantir. I've been waiting to add to this one, and I just said the heck with it today and added some at about, I think $25.25. So got my position started in Palantir. Hopefully I can continue to keep accumulating that one because I think that's going to be a great stock in the future. Let me go to a question. I had a question from Steph. She asked me if I would look into NAK. This is probably a day or two late for me. But NAK is pulling back below the 21-period exponential moving average. Actually, it was sitting on it as we speak. See, a lot of times when these stocks they start going, by the time they eventually do get to this yellow line, which is the 200 period simple moving average, they usually have a little bit of a hard time getting above it. That's why I don't like to be buying a lot of stocks that are below the 200 period simple moving average, just because it can take several chances for them to finally get above it. So what I like to do is wait, and then once they get above the 200 and hold it for a little bit, and then start to move up again. That's when I tend to get interested in some of these, especially the lower price stocks, because like I said, it can really butt its head up against that 200 period simple moving average for a while before it gets going. But that's all I have for this video, guys. I'm not going to go into too many good looking lower price stocks because there just really wasn't any of them. But if this market does bounce up into those moving averages, I think that I'm going to be lightening up on it, and I'm going to be taking a position in an inverse fund, trying to capture that move down that should happen after it bounces up into those averages. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.